And hit recording. And I think it's hard on an afternoon and the sun's still shining. We found that to be a harder time of day, but this is great that we'll be able to record this. Beth, I want to thank you for your willingness to share this strategy, which is a really cool strategy. Who would have thought you could play Jeopardy on Zoom? So
yeah, which was actually worked out great because it gave me a platform to talk about the answers as well. And on my Google Classroom, I had a handout that had the 4 topics and had questions on it. So after we played the game, the students could go to that handout on Google Classroom and answer any of the questions that were on the handout as well. And I can take this Jeopardy game and attach it as material for them to view so they can review it and look at it as well. So I really like that feature a lot. So we started, I was going to teach you how to do the game. This is an example of the game. I did Jeopardy Taking Care of Yourself, which had 4 topics in them. On the second slide, you had stress, nutrition, sleep, and physical activity. And what I wanted to show them is that total there are, to do all of this, you are creating 42 screens in order to do this project. So it does take a little time. The other thing I would highly suggest is deciding what the 5 questions are going to be for each of the topics here and what the answers are going to be. And then I also would suggest to grab some pictures, screenshot them, and have them on your desktop so they're easy to put into it. So looking at it when you started, if I want to go to the slideshow tab, which is on the very top, and so I'm going to show you the end result, and then I'll show you how to do it from there.
Great.
So we go to the slideshow, and we go to play from the start, was in the farthest corner. This is what it looks like. And I told them it was kind of a Jeopardy game, but instead I'm asking them questions, and they're going to come up with the answers. And what they can do is when they first come to the Zoom class, what I would do is put their name down on the right-hand side, so I know that I'm going to call on each student in order so that they know that there's going to be a round 1, round 2, round 3, and the students can, even in their own mind, try to answer the question, and it's on an honor system, so if they do answer it correctly, they can give themselves points on the side. So that's not a team effort, it is definitely an individual effort. And if a student picks something and they don't know the answer, somebody else can unmute themselves and try to answer it, or a couple people can, and then we're going to go through the answer and talk about it. So for this one, I did do from the most important, 500 points down to 100. So they can pick on something, say we're picking on, I don't know, let's do nutrition for 300, and each time it will make a sound that you can do that when it switches over. Let me just put this up so I can see. So what are foods that are important to consume for mental health issues? Because we did do a mental health topic as well. What foods should you stay away from? And then when you click on the word that says foods, the word that is highlighted and is underlined, I have made it so that will switch to the correct slide. So if I click on that, it goes to the answer. And then we talked about lots of fruits and vegetables, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and so forth. Then if I just click on, again, the word that is highlighted and underlined, it will go back, it's clapping right now for the answer, and it will go back to the original screen where you have all of the amounts, whether it's points or whether it is money, and then the topics. And you can see that the one that we just answered has changed to a different color. So the students can tell that there are other options there to choose from. And then I would go to the next person. And it was great because it was a chance for me to answer, talk about different things along with giving the answer for the students as well, and them getting a chance to ask the questions. So,
wow.
So do you have any questions at this point before I switch over to how to create it?
Can you just show a couple of others just as examples?
Sure, sure. Say we're going to do, we'll do sleep for 400. So, oops. So there we talked also about sleeping, driving, and being sleepy while you drive as well. So it's saying there's 100,000 accidents yearly as a result of drowsy driving, with 71,000 people injured, with 1,500 deaths. So what is the procedure you should follow while you're driving in your car and you feel like you're starting to fall asleep? Again, if I just press on the slide, it will go to the next slide that's available. So you don't want to do that. You want to press on the word that's highlighted and is underlined. And it has a drum roll right now. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
Yeah.
So, and it was funny. It was great because some kids could easily answer this. Not everyone is driving. We have 10th graders for our school, but a lot of kids are taking their permit at this point so that they know that they need to pull off the road, get a caffeinated drink, rest for 20 minutes because the caffeine doesn't kick in. So we talk about that. And they're able to drive another hour. It's good to talk to somebody. Opening your window, air conditioning only works for about a minute. So we want them to know they need to pull over and get some rest. And again, I'm going to click on the word answer and it will go back to there.
Great.
I'm going to, do you want another one, another example?
Yeah, I think one more would be great.
Okay, so stress, let's see, we'll do stress for 500. Name 4 health problems that can be caused by long-term stress. Again, pressing on the highlighted word. And then they were trying to pick out 4 things that are related to stress if you're under stress for a long period of time. And then we talked about each one of these. I'm going to go back and it brings me back to here.
So Beth, just correct me or clarify. Some of this information they've already had, and some of it is new information. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it depends on what I had taught earlier before we start this unit. Yeah.
And did you do this prior to distance learning?
No.
Okay.
Because of all the distant learning and the DOME sessions that you have put together, I did Jeopardy, I did a flip grid, I did a form where I had, like for my drug unit, I did different, what do you call it, slideshows, and which was really great. Somebody suggested make sure you put your slideshow in a PDF before, so that kids can't change your slideshow. That was a really good hint. And then I did one of those Google forms that had 20 questions for it as well. So yeah, I picked up a lot of these things just because of the sessions that we've been going through and listening to other people.
Great. And I like, Kelly had shared this in her session on the virtual classroom that she did in the escape room. It's the importance of changing it up, which is what you're saying, trying different strategies. And so the kids aren't doing the same thing over and over, which is awesome.
Right. And you're looking for something that they can participate in and they will enjoy and get that feedback back and forth, so you don't feel like you're talking to a stone wall while you're doing your lesson that you're getting. And this took exactly 1 hour to complete it. So it worked within the time frame of my class time.
Oh, perfect. And you could, of course, do it in smaller segments and just come and go. Mm-hmm. It's not like you have to complete it all at once, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah. That's
correct.
correct.
Although I suppose you have to know how to set it up for the next, if you were doing it in multiple classes, you would have to know which questions they had answered and which ones they had not.
Right, because every time you start the presentation over, it will clear the board.
Yeah, so you'd have to quickly go through and click off the ones they'd already answered to start the class over again.
Correct.
For the second section. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which is doable. It's not that hard to do, as long as you keep track. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. And I love the fact that you can do new content and reinforce previous content. I like that aspect.
Right, because you're going to be talking about what the answers are and why those are the right answers.
And how long did it take you to create this? Because this looks like a lot of work.
Yeah, it took me a little while, and I think mainly because I didn't know how to do it. So I kept looking up videos from PowerPoint to find out where I needed to go and what I needed to do. So it took up some extra time doing that.
So the next one wouldn't take you as long, because
right, and if I know that I have to have so many questions and so many answers ready, and maybe have some pictures ready, it would go a lot faster. the second time. But it's definitely worth it because it gave the students a really fun way of going through the material together.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and they knew that like their turn was going to be coming up to ask a question. And they also knew that I had a handout that had questions from each of the topics on it that they had to fill out as part of their assignment. So they knew they need to have the answers or know the answers that were correct.
And so they could be doing that handout while
Mm-hmm.
they're doing this, and that was fine, or they may have already done the homework and gotten the answers.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
But they didn't know which ones that they needed to know because they didn't know which one they would be asked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, which is great. So let me escape from that for a second so I can show you. So here are the slides over here. And I'm going to, so each slide was like, here's the first question. What I ended up doing, whenever I had a question, I would put the title and the amount on the top so I knew where I was when the students were asking. And then every time I had an answer, I would copy, stress for 500, and I would put the word answer. Well, it would be in black originally until I actually do the technique where you're going to connect that slide to another slide. So it would have been in black to start. So every time I had an answer, I would do answer stress for 500 so that I knew where I was.
Wow.
Every time you go to a slide that's a question, in here somewhere in the question is the word that's going to be like the action word that's going to make it go to the next slide. So
you just pick whichever word you want that made sense to you, right?
Correct, because if I click anywhere on the slide, it's going to go to the next slide below, like it normally would. But if I click on the word that's highlighted and is underlined, then it's going to go to a specific slide that I want it to go to. So the question will always go to the answer, and then the answer will always go back to slide number 2, which is the word, the point values.
So I have a detailed question. So what if I accidentally click on the slide and it goes to the next slide, but I really wanted to be back to the board?
Right, so what you can do, let's do that right now so I can show you. We have to go to play again, so it's going to start over because I escaped out of it. So say we went to sleep for 200. What are 5 tips that you can follow in order to get sleep? And I'm going to click on this for now because my following slide is always the answer. So these are things you could do. So now if you look here in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a back and a forward button.
Oh.
So if, for example, I don't click on answer and I just click somewhere on the slide, it brings me to the next one. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't want to be here. I want to go back to my original one. So go back over here in the bottom left. I can click the back arrow and it brings me back to where I was.
Great. Excellent.
And now I can click, oh, yes, I need to click the answer in red to bring me back to here.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for.
And whenever you're done with your slideshow, you can click escape, or you can put 2 fingers and click on your computer and it will say end show. So you have 2 options to get out of it so you can keep working on it. So sometimes I'll work on it and then I will try and present it to see where I'm at. And then I will click out of it to keep working on it some more.
Great. Excellent. And I'm assuming you could copy to make your next one. You would just copy and start here, and then you just change each one of your topics and slides with with new content.
So you could go through and do all your slides and put stress for 200, answer stress for 200, stress for 100, answer stress for 100. And then nutrition, and you can go through all the nutrition slides and get them all ready for your questions.
And then if I want to create 4 more content topics, I would just make a copy of this and start over and just change each one of those.
Yeah, you can make, yeah, instead of, so I'm on sleep right now. Instead of saying sleep, I would just change the topic and write the word physical activity.
Right.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I can get my slides all ready for that. So these were all the, and this was great because what was the question on this one? This question was, how do you work out so that it's beneficial for your heart and for losing weight? And what is target heart rate range? And then we got a chance to talk about that, you know, this whole chart and what it means and so forth, and how to get your target heart rate zone, and what it means to have an older adult who's doing their target heart rate zone compared to a younger person as far as their age goes.
Cool.
So that's, yeah, so I just put a bunch of different slides in, you know, why it's, I find so many kids don't exercise, and I'm like, what are the benefits of exercise? Can you name at least 4 things that it would help you if you exercised? And I've got a list of like 12 or something. It's like, if there's so many benefits, why are there teenagers who don't exercise? And then they'll talk about that for a minute. So it kind of sparks a conversation as well.
So you may plan for it to be, you know, a 1 hour block of time, but again, you get some really good conversation going. You just take it, extend it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, as well.
That's how I set up my choice boards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Using Google Slides with the links, and it takes them, so if they have choice, it'll take them to the slide where they would put their evidence.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Cool.
It's like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so would you like to know how to do this next?
Sure. You guys, any questions? Kelly, Cindy, welcome, Cindy. Nancy? All right, good.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this one. Well, let me see. Let me just see if I can. You
actually have to stop sharing.
I do. Okay.
Yeah.
And then reshare. Okay. Okay.
And Cindy, just to let you know, we have recorded this, so the part that you missed a little bit of, you can catch up later.
All right. So to create this in PowerPoint, what you want to do is, in the very beginning, you're just going to pick out any design you want for that first slide. It doesn't matter, because the next slides are always, let me just go down the bottom. We'll just add a slide. So the next slides are always blank anyways. So it doesn't matter what you choose for a, for a design. In the second slide, like I said, you want to make sure you choose your 4 topics that you want to use. It's great to get your 5 questions already, your 5 answers already as well. And the other thing I would suggest, so I don't forget to tell you, is you do need to save it. So up here in the very top, the second one it kind of looks like a floppy disk. That is your save. It just says save this presentation. So it's one of those things, if you lose it, you lose it, and you don't want to lose it. So it's best to try to save it. Not like your Google Doc or your Google Slides where they're constantly saving it. So you do want to do that. To make the very first slide here, you want to, let me just make sure I have it all correct, all done here. Let's see. You want it, for the second slide here, you want to insert a table, and you want it 4 by 6 for the table. So if I was doing that, say I was here and I got a new slide, I would get rid of this box here. This box, if I can get rid of that top box. Let's see. Sorry about that. There we go. I get rid of the top box. Bring this one up a little bit. Bring this down. There we go. And then, so here are the different headings right here. You've got home, insert, design, transitions, animation, slideshow, and so forth. I usually, for this project, you only need to use home, insert, and slideshow. Those are really only the 3 that you need to, the tabs you need to use. So here I would be inserting a table, and you want it 4 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and I chose one that is, so you have a light and a dark, so you can see the numbers better. You could do any color that you want to use here as well. Oh, I like the teal one. And then you can put in, right here, then you could put in your topics, and you can put in your point values. To get this, this little one here to be this size right here, the font needs to be 48 size font, and then it will just large right up for you. So you don't need to change it and try to make it bigger. You can center, make sure that you center everything by highlighting all the squares. Oops, I just did something I don't want to do.
Undo, gotta love undo.
Yes, highlight all your, all your squares, and then center everything and put it at 48 font, and it will be the exact size that you need for here. So as you can see, so on the home section, obviously you get your fonts, you get your colors, you get the type of font that you want. You have your new slide right here on the left-hand side, and you have your centering right here. And those are basically the ones that I've used, for items for that tab. Next, when you want to, I've already done 2 of them already to add to the next, add to it. So I want to show you how to make one of the slides connect to the next slide. For that, you're going to have to go to Insert. And what you need to do is you need to highlight the whole amount. So I'm highlighting $300 in the tobacco product category. And then what you need to do is go to this yellow star, which says Action. And what you're going to do is, it's called a hyperlink when you're linking it to another slide. So you just click on the hyperlink. You can do next slide, but I always like to say what slide number I'm going to connect it to. And I would connect it to the following slide. Before I do that though, let me just get out of this for a second, because I don't know if I have my slides up yet. Yeah, I do have an 8 slide. And let me go back to home, and let's add another slide as well. Okay, so I have my 2 slides ready to go. Again, that's why it's nice if you already have like your headings, tobacco products for 200, answer tobacco products for 200 already on your slides. But we're gonna go back to here. So I'll just do that. We'll just take this. Oops, why is it not doing that? There we go. Sorry about that. Oops. There we go. I'll copy that. I'm gonna put that on slide 8. And this is gonna be for what, 300, I think. And then I'm also gonna put it here. And it's for 300, but this is the answer slide. That's the answer slide. Okay, so those 2 are ready. So let me go back to here again. So now I'm going to highlight the whole word, and this is how we're going to connect it. I'm going to insert, going to the yellow star, which says Action, hyperlink it to, and I'm going to go down to slides. It's going to say what slide number, and I want slide number 8. Click OK. And then if I want to have a sound, it will show me all the different sounds that are available to use as it switches to the next one. So we'll just do an arrow and press OK. So now this here is already set up. It's going to go to slide 8. And then just say we have a question. We're just going to put a question. I'm just going to write for you to answer. We say we created it. We just create a question. From there, I'm going to highlight the word answer. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm already in the insert tab. I'm going to go to the star, And I want to link this one to the next slide, which is slide number 9. Press OK. Again, if I want a sound, say I have a breeze. You don't have to use sound, and you can do a sound on your own too. And then on the answer slide, we have the answer. Just say, we're just going to go like this. Here's the answer. I'm going to highlight the word answer, and I want to link it back. So I'm already in insert. I'm going to press on the star, and I'm going to link it back to slide number 2. Oh, actually, it's slide number 3 because I put a pretend one in there. And click OK. We'll do an applause. All right, so if we want to,
if I can interrupt for just a second, Beth. So it's real important that you get the beginning part set up because you don't want to be adding a slide in front of something, because now that changes all the ones you just hyperlinked to. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. And let's see that it might happen just now because I just got rid of slide number 2. So let's see if that does happen. Let's go to slideshow, start for present. Let's go to 300, which was the tobacco. We were having an answer. That went to the other answer. Let's see if it goes back. Yep. No, it went back to the slide that I wanted to go to.
So it made the correction. Good.
It did. Yeah, so that's good. Let me escape out of it so I can keep working on it if I wanted to. Yeah, so it's pretty easy that you can connect a slide to another slide. And you always want your answers to connect back up to slide number 2.
Question. If you went down to slide, I think it was 6 and 7, could you duplicate slide 6 and then it would become slide number 8? Or I guess we could go to 8 and 9, assuming they were finished. Duplicate 8 and then change it to the next number.
Let's see, I'm trying to figure out, what are you thinking? I'm sorry.
Yep, so go to slide number 8.
Go to slide number 8.
If you right click on it, does it allow you to duplicate?
Let's see.
So you duplicate the slide?
Yeah.
Yep, so click on that. Should create another slide, which you just did, and you'd have to then drag it down below the last slide, which right now is 10. So there's no slide after 10?
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Hmm.
So maybe it doesn't work. That's what I wanted to find out. Did it work? Well, no, actually, I'm sorry. You did do the answer. So you can now change that to 400, and it would be answer 400, and you just need to change the hyperlink.
Oh, this got moved to my other slideshow.
Oh.
This is my original slideshow.
Well, let's hit undo then. We don't want to mess things up.
Or in the original, you'd be able to do what you're talking about, but you would need to change a hyperlink.
Right, but you could duplicate the slides instead of copying and paste. Yeah. So just hit undo.
Let me just, there, I got rid of it.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I was just thinking of a way of not having to cut and paste it, but you could duplicate it and then just change the total.
Yeah,
and change the hyperlink.
Right. So you probably should duplicate it before you even do the hyperlinks.
That would be even better. Yeah, just set them all up ahead by just duplicating.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do. Set all your questions and everything up from your slide. You want to do question answer for each category, and then you can go up to here and start linking them to the right numbers, right slide that you want them to go to. Yep. Yeah, that seems to work. That would work really good.
Yeah. Just
it does take a little time to set up. Yeah, it does take a little time to set up, but I think it was definitely worth it when I played it. It was like, oh, this is like a great class to do, and I didn't have to think about doing, I didn't have to set up anything. I didn't have to pre-plan or organize anything. It's like, I'm ready for this. And I think it was, and it seemed like the kids enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I would think that they would, most definitely. Again, to change of pace, it's a
Mm-hmm.
little competitive, but not real competitive. So,
Right. And then what I did is if we're all set here, I can stop sharing this slide for a second
sure.
and then see if I can share my regular.
Hi, Doreen.
thing. Okay.
See if we can get this to work.
Can you see this?
It's now big. Yes, it's big
Okay.
now.
So this is my Google Classroom. And then what I ended up doing, because we did a quarter class and we were just had like 6 weeks to do a quarter class. I ended up picking 6 categories to teach. And so I did STDs, drug abuse, relationship building, mental health, taking care of yourself, and non-communicable diseases and communicable diseases. So for this one here, this is where I did have, we did do a stress management handout that also had the teen health resource sheet to go along with it. So they did have some questions about stress ahead of time before I played Jeopardy. And then this was the taking care of yourself handout, which was kind of like a quiz that had 5 questions for each topic. So some of these questions were answered from the Jeopardy.
Cool.
And then after we played Jeopardy, I did put the Jeopardy up. So all I did was go through and, go up to create, and then went to material, and then put it in the correct topic. But this is what it looks like when you leave it on here on the Google Classroom. So you can't play the game on Google Classroom, but you still have the the game board. But then you just have your questions and your answer, and your question and your answer. So if the student
Assignment?
What's that?
Would you list it as an assignment and then make a copy for each student if they wanted to continue to play it?
I don't know if it would, I don't know if you could or not. I don't know if it would,
Translate.
yeah, I don't know if it would actually, go to the right slide and back.
I think it might.
We can try that.
Try it with a colleague or something first. Just make sure that, all your information is open to students.
So if they wanted to play it again, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying, Kelly?
Yeah.
With each other
kids
even?
love to play, like if they didn't do so hot the first time, or even if they did, they like to just continue to play it. And hey, all the power to you.
Reinforcing.
Stay away.
Right. And then they could look at it that way. Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I tried to see if it could download and do that, but the other thing I was worried about, I think I might have tried that because I did it a while ago, and I had another teacher get on it, and he could change it.
So you could change the answers?
Yeah.
Which is okay if you're done with it.
Right. If we're done with it and it goes to individual, if like what she said is like, let each student have a copy of it.
Yep.
Right.
I usually make a copy of it just in case, and then I list it as make a copy for each student.
I see. Nice.
Just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah. I just don't want to lose anything I spent a lot of time working on. I don't want kids to change things if it's like, oh my gosh.
No, definitely.
So I'm not sure it was you, Kelly, who mentioned about, I'm not sure it was you who mentioned about slideshows too, that make sure they're in a PDF form so they can't change it. That was a big help.
Yeah, I do that, or I just, again, I make a copy and then share a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And your kids, so if you feel comfortable sharing something with them, or if you think they're going to go and decide to tweak things up a little bit,
Well, oftentimes,
i.e. the sexuality. What's that?
Oftentimes I do it by accident, so I don't take any chances either. Like when you spend that time to hyperlink, what a mess to try to put it all back together. So.
No, but I was thinking more absolutely you want to copy it. That's the way you want to do it. But there may be something that you create, you know, like maybe you did this with sexuality units in it. And you're like, I don't want to give them the opportunity to make their own version of the sexuality Jeopardy. Because they chances are they're not going to do it on their own, but they might tweak up what you put in there. So
yeah, I found I ended up using Khan Academy for the male and female reproductive. And then I used, let's see, what was the other one? Hold on a minute. Let me go
and what was
back.
that? Khan Academy?
Khan Academy had a really good male and female reproductive system. Let me,
Can you tell
share
what is Khan Academy? Yeah, I don't know. That's a new one. I haven't heard.
Oh, you haven't heard of Khan Academy? It's an online learning program. Let me go back to this. Let's see. So this was for my male-female reproductive system. I did a few things. I did our myth sheet. I did our handout, STD handout, where I gave them different STDs that
I'm sorry. Yes, I have heard of Khan, Khan. I was thinking you were saying CON.
Right.
That said, I haven't seen it. I've only heard of it. So.
Yeah, I figured with the STDs, there was so much information that I would give them the first 3 boxes and let them do the last 2 boxes to fill in each one.
Which is really what you want them to know anyway.
Right. And the flip grid I end up using for 3 to 5 sentences about 3 things that you learned within the quarter. And that worked out, that's pretty cool because I can just go to my flip grid, and I really like that a lot. Just logging in with Google so you can see that.
Have you been using Flipgrid for a while, Beth, or is this new to you?
No, this is all new to me.
I'm hoping that folks will start to share some of your Flipgrids across Maine so that people can share each other's information. Because I know when, oh, look at you, there you are.
Yeah, I got to do a little video, just a quick video of myself, saying what I'm looking for.
Hi everyone, hope you're having a good day. So today we're going to try Flipgrid.
And so if they wanted to use that as, they could do, talking about 3 things that they learned in the quarter, they could do it through a Flipgrid, they could do it as an essay, and they could do it as a slideshow. So I gave them some options.
Awesome.
Here is then I had my reproductive resources because we didn't have a lot of time with the students. So this is where I did put in the Khan Academy, which had a really good, male and female reproductive system. Kidshealth.org had a really good website for them. Putting on a condom correctly. I did go through it I had the kids, I did my lesson in here in my classroom because I had all my materials and I was showing them correctly how to do everything. But this was the only video. I watched like 5 videos on how to put a condom on correctly, and a lot of them did not have all the information correct on it.
Oh no. So always check your source, right?
Oh my gosh, I know. So the Planned Parenthood one had the best video for it.
Did you happen to check amaze.org?
No, I will write that down though. Amaze?
Amaze, AMAZE.org. They're another really good one.
A good one.
Okay.
Yeah, Doreen's going thumbs up on Amaze. Yeah. And Kelly too. They're awesome.
Yeah, I missed them. I did put on the tea consent video because I always think that's funny.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's the one I got from you guys, from Shauna Lund. Yeah.
Yeah.
From you guys. So that was really good.
That's great. I love that Flipgrid. If you're willing to.
Yeah, I'm excited. I told a couple kids to give it a try.
Yeah.
One kid goes, can I get extra credit for it? I said, yes, you can get extra credit for it.
Of course you can. So
of course you can.
It's a great example, Beth, of yes, you can do sexuality education, distance learning. So there are lots of great resources out there to support doing that. So questions. We'll have some questions for Beth or for each other.
Beth, what grade level you teach?
Mostly 10th graders in our class. Yeah. At Ms. Lonsky.
Could you see yourself doing that, Doreen, with your kids, though?
We just haven't gotten support from
Jeopardy?
our administration to do sexuality online.
No, but the Jeopardy stuff.
Maybe it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of a nice summer project, you know, that you
It
can
would be
work on a
definitely
little bit.
something this summer. Yep.
Yeah.
Would it be fun if we could, if a bunch of people wanted to make one and then we shared them with each other? So maybe different topics and then share them around the state so that people have copies of them.
Oh, I
what a
think
great
great.
idea.
That's an
Well, then
awesome
you can
idea.
actually create, well, like Beth's already got one done, and then you could create, create one for sexuality, create one for, different topics.
That's the drug unit you're doing right now,
Yeah.
a nutrition unit.
Yeah.
That's
Or self-care, or like, a puberty for 6th grade, or different things like that. You could pick some topics, and if, 5 or 6 people do one, and then we have them all to share with each other, then you've all got a copy of a variety of topics to use.
right, and by grade span.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great idea. Super. Well, we just might work on that, Doreen,
There you go.
or
Let me
making
know.
that happen.
Yeah,
I have to go to a
that's great idea.
certification meeting. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, thanks for popping in. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Other questions? Nancy? Oh, looked like you were reaching.
Oh, no question, but that was great. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see doing a male-female one where you have a category, just male reproductive system, or female reproductive system, STDs, pregnancy prevention.
Oh yeah, and get down, you've covered all your information you just talked about and shared. And then get down to the base. What do you really want them to know would be those 5 questions. What are those most important things? Yeah. No, those are great. Have you done a Jeopardy before, Kelly?
A long time ago. Like I'm really big right now just because we weren't able to do really anything other than review. That really limited what I could do, but the choice boards are a big hit with me, and I can see like linking the Jeopardy into the choice boards. The choice boards are by topics, so they're very wide open for what people can do with them. So I use a lot of them.
Yeah, can you explain the choice board a little bit more?
Yeah, just use Google Slides, and like for high school, I put out an alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs for one of their sessions. And basically, I had it broken down into weeks, and they would have required assignments on a slide with a hyperlink, with a link to a PowerPoint perhaps, or a handout, or a video that went along with the information. And then they would have a row and they would choose. And they may be required 1 or 2. And that would take them to the slide for their evidence. Kind of like a reinforcement activity. And I think I broke it down to a week of explore, a week of review, and 2 weeks of assess. And they had 3 assessments to choose from. And I had 3 different ways that they could prove it, basically. And then I had little clouds that they pull over and put onto their, I know it sounds really juvenile, but they pull it over to put it onto the column to like a checklist. And believe it or not, they found a lot of satisfaction being able to pull something over and place it on, the virtual done column. And then I could just look at the classroom and I could see the clouds like, oh, yep, Susan passed it in, or, Jean passed hers in. And
Are you able to show us that?
Do you have a sample you could show us without names?
Yeah, I think, do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yes, I can. Maybe. Just a moment. I believe.
And Beth, if you have time on, while Kelly's doing that, if you have time Wednesday, Kelly's doing a virtual classroom and escape room session. And she's going to do, she already did the quick version of it for us in a half an hour, but she's going to have the whole hour to do more of the step-by-step piece of it, a little more. And she's got a sexuality virtual classroom she'll be sharing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Actually, the sexuality one you're sharing next week during the sexuality session. Yeah.
It's not one that I created, but it's one that was shared, that I found that I would share with everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just need to find my share my screen here.
It should be at the bottom in bright
Yeah.
green.
I'm looking, but I don't see it. Let's see. Hang on just a moment. I got a lot of screens open here. Sorry.
You have the little blue with the screen, the camera in it. Click on that. There you go.
Think it's coming, maybe.
There you go.
Okay, where
So
is it?
Beth, you see how hers gets narrow? That's how yours was starting out.
Ah, really?
But you
Yeah.
didn't see it like that, I don't think.
Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay, so when the students went to this, I used Screencastify basically to put in a video on this slide. That was me speaking and showing them how to use the unit.
Can you scroll down just a little bit, Kelly? I can't see the bottom half of the slide.
I gotta get rid of some.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, now we can see it all.
There you go.
Thanks.
Okay. And then again, here's just a narrative form, and I'm showing them, and of course, you know, me and the Yoda thing. So, so basically, if they went to week 1, they had 2 required activities in red. So they would click on the presentation, which is hyperlinked, and they would review this. This particular one's on alcohol, and they could skip over slides that weren't necessary for them. And then after they reviewed that, if they even needed to, they would go to the hyperlink slide, and in this case, it's just a really quick drag and drop exercise. And when they completed it, they would just simply, on their version, they would drag their cloud over.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Cool.
And that week we had 3 little quizzes or tests, and those were on Quizlet. And again, a lot of these weren't activities that I created. I linked to things that people had open, tweaked them for my kids, and made sure that I hyperlinked them to my stuff.
Cool.
And again, some of them were longer because I have kids that like to watch movies, so I may have recommended a movie, but these were choice. Same thing. They click on the information, click on the slide to show their evidence.
Oh, wow.
And then the last week ended with, because we were told in May that they needed to do a summative assessment. And all of these are linked to our school-wide rubric. This was a multiple choice assessment on Google Forms that I created. And I actually kept it open so they could take it multiple times, which I'm surprised the kids actually did.
Oh.
And then there was one that was more of a courtroom for my real high-end kids where they had to use factual information and arguments. And then the last one was for my creative learners. And in this case, they were doing a prevention flyer. So they had a choice to do one of these.
Wow, I love this.
So whichever one they drop the cloud on is the one they did, obviously.
Yeah, and you know, there were different ones. This one is, you know, type the answer. This was the movie one if they chose to do this and type their answers. This one required an image. Again, we have another like just really quick drag and drop. These ones required on Quizlet that they just took a shot of their results.
Mhm.
And there were, out of all my high school students, I believe there are only 3 that still owe this assignment out of all of them.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Kelly, how do you make a drag and drop?
You on Google Slides.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is that when you create your slide, you can actually add items off to the side.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
And this is just one of the shapes that I inserted and typed on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can drag it over.
I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I always have it return to the slide. Like if they get confused, like, okay, what assignment was this? I always hyperlink it back to the original directions. It's just a, you know, creature or habit here. So if I get confused about what the heck am I supposed to be doing here, I can go back and say, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Ah, cool.
But again, I use Screencastify here. So this has the video of me.
Hi guys, welcome to Digital Learning. This particular unit,
And then I show them how to
other drugs,
do this choice board.
choice board.
Oh,
Blah, blah, blah.
cool.
You simply follow the directions.
So in less than 4.5 minutes, you just go over the lesson with them. Cool.
Yes, that was 5 weeks basically broken down.
That is super.
It must have taken you quite a while to develop this.
No, I got to give credit where credit's due. I had seen this online and I added to it. It didn't have a big section on vaping, so I made sure that that was incorporated in there. And again, this is review. So to be honest with you, I was hoping my students wouldn't have to go through and look at all those slides and everything. They really should have been able to,
That's what
knock
you
it
meant.
right out of the park.
That's
But
what
this
you meant.
idea was not
Okay.
mine. I added my content into it. The assessments are all mine. A couple of the other activities are mine. But again, these are things that people left open. And of course, the school, and off the top of my head, I can't remember, that created it, allowed people to have a copy. And then I just added my own screencastify. And again, if you keep your videos under 5 minutes, that will end up being an application that we continue to use for free.
Great.
And again, I'm not going to use anything I can't continue to use.
So Kelly, what's one of the places you might go to get some free stuff? Is it like Health Central?
Yes.
Is it Facebook, main Facebook toolbox?
That particular ATOD unit I had seen from a teacher who put on the health teacher website on Facebook. And she did leave the link open. But I see more and more people are reminding others that, hey, if you don't make a copy, you're screwing up our original work. So there is a way that you can actually go in and make the link so it literally can't be messed with.
I would link it to a copy because that's what I've been doing, is making a copy and then I link to the copy.
But even up in the link in the headline, you can also take off that last little bit of it, erase it, where it says copy. You can actually take that off, so when the user does open it, it already is their copy and they can only edit what they do. They can't mess up with your original. It's hard to explain in words.
I gotta say, can you show us a copy, open something and show what you're talking about?
That would be difficult to do with what I have open right now.
Okay.
I can send you a video that does it very well.
Oh, that'd be great. Because I do have a section on our share document that says, make sure you make a copy. And at the very top, I say, make sure you make a copy. So I could put that there.
Yeah, and sometimes when people see copy, they think, oh, when I clicked it, I made a copy. No, you didn't. that is the copy. So you then need to do it again. And I've made that mistake. So
yeah, copy the copy. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I learned it just like all of you are learning all of these amazing things from each other. And I said, the more that we share and actually put out there, how wonderful. Because I wouldn't have been able to put that together if somebody else hadn't shared a portion of their work.
Yeah, it's great to be able to do that. So, yeah. And so anything you want to share, just let me know and I'll put it into our folder.
Okay, I'll try to remember. I have a couple of little things I have to remember to do. I will send you that video and I will put it in your email as the copying documents.
That'd be great. And I'll put it on that page. So, and Beth, whatever you're comfortable sharing, we'll put on the website as well.